Welcome to Melissa Honey Speaks, where we chat about feminine magic, mindset, and manifesting. I'm your host and feminine magic guide, Melissa Honey. Welcome back to another episode of Melissa Honey Speaks. I'm your host, Melissa Honey, and on today's episode, we'll be talking about the higher self versus the ego, or the ego versus the higher self. So we all have those parts of our subconscious mind. We have the ego and we have the higher self. The ego is the part of our subconscious mind that wants to keep us grounded, keep us safe, keep us secure, and making sure that we aren't bringing any harm or any discomfort to ourselves. That's what the higher self is for. And then we have that's what the ego is for. We have the higher self that keeps us connected to our source, connected to God, it helps to remind us that all is well, reminds us that that we are the creators. That's what the higher self is. So let's talk about the ego really quickly. So I want to talk a little bit about how the ego, even though the ego isn't necessarily negative, the ego can cause you to maybe stay stuck where you are. And stuck, I mean, in ways that, so say you want, let me give you an example. So say that you are looking to make some changes in your life, and the ego, so maybe you're 35. So for the 35 years of your life, or maybe the past 15 years of your life, you've been doing the same things over and over and over again, and you've become really comfortable with it. And the ego is like, yeah, that's great. Everything is I'm comfortable with her doing those things. Then all of a sudden you decide you want to change something and you want to do something different. The ego is the part of your subconscious that keeps you stuck in the ways that you were, whether it's good or bad. It can be a good thing or it can be a bad thing that you just want to change. The ego is the part of our subconscious mind that helps us to basically stay stuck. When you want to, maybe you want to start a business, you want to change, you want to start a healthier lifestyle. The ego is a part of us that keeps us comfortable. It's like, yeah, for the past XYZ number of years, you have been this way, and we don't like for you to change because change could be uncomfortable, and we like you to be comfortable. And because the way you've been comfortable. So because of that, the ego is saying, let's try to keep her where she is because this is really comfortable for us. Even though she doesn't like it, your higher self is saying, yes, do it. All is well. You can move there. The ego is saying, no, I think we're going to keep her here because this is more comfortable. And even though it's comfortable to the higher self or comfortable to the ego, it's not comfortable to you. You are looking for a change. So therefore, the change can be the uncomfortable part of getting from where you are to where you want to be. There's that dissonance in there that keeps you saying, okay, maybe the old way is better, the old way is easier, it's easier. And because you've created a habit, the ego helps you create habits that could either be good for you or not so good for you. So when you're stuck there, the ego is saying, yes, I like it here, it's comfortable here, I don't want to change anything. This is the way it should be. This is the way I like it. That's your ego mind saying, it's kind of like almost telling you lies, saying it's okay here, we love it here, but you really don't. And so it's you're telling yourself over and over again what you want. That's why affirmations are important. That's why daily practices are important. Of practicing affirmations, practicing new habits. If you want to stop smoking, you have to practice not smoking. If you want to eat healthy, you have to practice eating healthier. If you want to work out every day, you have to practice it until it becomes a habit. And the ego part of ourselves, our subconscious mind, is a part of us that helps us to feel like, I don't really want to do this. I don't want to work out today. I don't want to stop smoking today. So I'm just gonna smoke a cigarette, or I'm just going to not work, or I'm just going to eat whatever I want, or I'm just going to stay where I am in this particular circumstance I don't like, because the ego makes us feel like it's okay, it's comfortable, even though we are desiring a change in our lives. The ego kind of keeps us stuck. So then the opposite of that for me is the higher self. The higher self is a part of ourselves that we can turn to and say, we can do this. All is well. it keeps pulling us towards the things that we want, saying it's okay. The ego is like, no, no, no. And so until you get to that, until you get over that hump of where the ego is saying, you don't want to do that. You want to go back to the way it was. That was much easier. We liked that. It was better. And even though we know it wasn't better, or we know that we didn't like that part of where we were, and we're wanting to change, the higher self is the part of ourselves that's going to bring us to that point. Like, all is well. I create my life. I am making changes because of these reasons. I want to do this. I like this. This is better. I'm enjoying this. I can see myself being healthier. I can see myself working out. I can see myself not smoking. I can see myself in better relationships. I can see myself being a better partner, or whatever it is that you're trying to do. The ego is a part of ourselves that keeps us stuck where we were. But once we create that new habit, the ego is now on board. But it takes some time to get from the place where you were to the place you want to be, so that the ego can have new training. Basically, we've retrained. Once we get to the new place, we've retrained our ego to be on board with those things. But it takes a while. The ego is that part of us that's hard to change. When we're trying to change, we're like, oh, I just can't get out of the habit of doing XYZ. So we can't get out of the habit. That's our ego. And then when we change our habit, that's also the ego, but it's the higher self that helps us get there. So on today's episode, the ego versus the higher self, neither part of that, our subconscious mind, is negative part of ourselves, but we have to understand that what the ego does for us is important either way, because we need something to keep us grounded. We need that part of ourselves to keep us to understand, so that we can retrain it to, every time we want to change, we're going to retrain the ego so that we can get in line with what we want. We can get out of being stuck where we were, get over the hump, that dissonance area, and into the new place. Once we get into the new place, the ego is now on board, and the higher self is like the pep talk. All is well. All is well. You're doing great. That's our higher self telling us that we can do it. And the higher self is what pulls us from that stuck part of where we were into where we want to be. And then the ego gets on board and says, oh, okay, we like this too. And now it's going to keep you there until you decide that you want to change. So that's the ego versus the higher self for today's episode. Thanks for watching. That's all for today. Thank you for tuning in today. Please like and comment and share. And if you like our content, please subscribe. And don't forget to follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Links below.